When you look at Gift City, you're not just looking at a collection of new buildings. You're looking at a statement of intent. We're going to dig into this really ambitious project, which is right at the heart of India's plan to become a global financial powerhouse. So let's break down what's really going on here.
It's a huge question, right? How do you even start to build something like this from scratch? Well, India's answer is a very meticulous, very deliberate strategy, and it's got a brand new, purpose-built city right at its core. So let's start with the absolute basics.
So what exactly is Gift City? To really get it, we first need to understand what makes it fundamentally different from, say, Mumbai or Delhi or any other city in India.
Okay, so the key thing to understand is that Gift City is an International Financial Services Center, or an IFSC for short. Now, just think of it like this. It's a special zone, physically on Indian soil, but it operates with global rules. The whole point is to create an environment that can go toe-to-toe with established hubs like Singapore or Dubai when it comes to taxes, regulations, and just the ease of doing business.
And the mission behind it all? It's crystal clear. For years, a ton of Indian financial business, we're talking trading, investments, the whole shebang, was actually happening outside of India through these overseas centers. The number one goal of the IFSC is to reverse that tide, to bring all that capital, that talent, and those valuable transactions back home.
So, that's the big ambition. But here's the real question. Is it actually working? Let's zoom in and look at the numbers, because this isn't just a blueprint on a desk anymore. This thing is a rapidly growing reality.
Okay, this progress card really tells the story. I mean, just look at the scale of this. Banking units are already managing over $100 billion in assets. The capital markets, they're seeing turnovers of more than $88 billion every single month. But what's really interesting is the diversity here. It's not just the usual banking and stocks. Check out the specialized services that are taking root, from aircraft leasing to ship leasing to bullion trading. It's incredible.
And that kind of momentum gets noticed. By early 2024, more than 1,000 different companies, both from India and around the world, had already registered to set up shop here. That, right there, is a huge vote of confidence from the global financial community.
Let's try to make this a little more real. Think about something like aircraft leasing. For the longest time, if an Indian airline wanted to lease a new plane, they'd probably have to go through a company in Ireland or Singapore. Well, now that business is happening right here. We're talking about over 300 aircraft being managed directly out of Gift City.
Or how about bullion trading? That's just a fancy way of saying the large-scale organized trading of physical gold and silver. By setting up the India International Bullion Exchange, they've created a world-class platform. You've already got 185 jewelers on board and a vault that can hold a massive amount of gold. See, this is all about building these deep, specialized ecosystems from the ground up.
Okay, so things are clearly booming inside Gift City. But, and this is a really big but, this kind of explosive growth doesn't just happen in a vacuum. A project this ambitious can only work if it's built on solid ground. So now we need to zoom out and look at the bedrock it's all standing on, the overall health of India's entire financial system.
And that's the crucial point, isn't it? You simply can't build a world-class international financial center on a shaky domestic foundation. The recent success of Gift City is directly tied to the fact that India's own financial sector has become dramatically more stable and resilient over the last few years.
One of the biggest changes has been in how large companies get their money. It used to be all about bank loans. If you needed to expand, you went to the bank. But now the game has totally changed. Big corporations are increasingly going to the market. They're issuing corporate bonds, using their own cash reserves. This diversification is so important because it makes the whole system less reliant on any one source of funding, which makes it way more resilient.
So what about the banks themselves? Well, according to the economic survey, their health has reached, and I'm quoting here, historic highs. Their balance sheets are stronger, and the quality of their assets has seen this incredible turnaround from the stress they were under just a few years ago.
And if you want one single number that just screams turnaround, it's this one. The gross non-performing asset ratio, which is just a technical way of measuring the percentage of bad loans on a bank's books, has dropped all the way to just 2.2%. I mean, that is a multi-decade low. It signals a healthy, stable banking sector that's ready to support much, much bigger ambitions.
So we've got a healthy domestic financial system, and that's the foundation for a global hub like Gift City. But why does all this matter so much? Because these things aren't just goals in and of themselves. They're actually crucial pieces of a much, much grander national strategy. You see, the sources outline this fascinating three-phase plan for India's role in the global economy. Think of it like leveling up. Step 1 is about building your own capabilities at home. Step 2 is about becoming resilient enough to handle shocks from the outside world. But that final step, the ultimate goal, is something far more ambitious. It's called strategic indispensability. Now, what on earth does that mean? Well, this quote from the source material just nails it. The goal is becoming a node that others cannot bypass. In other words, it's about integrating so deeply into the world's most critical supply chains for goods, for services, for finance, that the global system literally can't function without you. It's about going from being a rule taker to a rule shaper.
And that brings us right back to the beginning, full circle. How does one city, this single financial hub we've been talking about, fit into such a grand, sweeping vision of strategic indispensability?
Well, it's actually pretty simple. GIF City is being built to be the financial engine room for this entire national strategy. To become truly indispensable in the 21st century, a country has to be a major player in the flow of global capital, and that is exactly the role this city is designed to play. Just think about how it fuels the whole strategy. It attracts the global capital you need to grow. It means India is less dependent on other financial centers around the world. It creates this amazing ecosystem of high-skilled jobs. It acts as a trusted front door for global investment into the rest of the country. And maybe most importantly, with every single successful transaction, it builds India's reputation as a stable, reliable hub in the world economy.
The success we've seen so far is truly impressive, but it does leave us with one final, fascinating question. We've seen the blueprint, we've seen the strong foundation, and we've seen the grand ambition. But what will it ultimately take for a brand new financial center like this to truly challenge the established giants of the world? The race is on, and GIF City is India's chosen champion.